This is Tim Parsons with Tahoe Onstage, and it's an honor and privilege to be here with international star in every sense of the definition, Ana Popovic. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, we're at the Crystal Bay where Ana's about to perform, and you know, it took the British invasion to educate America about its own music, but over in Serbia, you grew up with the blues as well. Could you tell me about that?
Sure. I grew up, you know, listening to blues records ever since I remember music. You know, I probably went into it much earlier than a lot of other American kids did, just by pure chance. My dad is a huge fan of American blues, and you know, ever since I remember, maybe I was 2-3 years old, I could, you know, I listened to everything from Delta blues, Chicago blues, Texas blues, you know, all American stuff, you know, mostly, and soul and Memphis and Stax, and later on, you know, from all the jazzy stuff and Django Reinhardt, and you know, it was very natural to me. So I went into it. I mean, by the time I was 5 or 6, I guess he would just, you know, gather us around, my sister and me, around guitar and encourage us to sing those songs. They were very natural to us. We would just love to hear Elmore James and Howlin' Wolf and sing those songs, and listen to Buddy Guy and Junior Wells. It was just a normal thing for you know, two little girls. And Stevie Ray Vaughan. By the time I was 5, I learned to say who's the best guitar player in the world. It's Stevie Ray Vaughan, and what's the best record, soul to soul. You know, when he would, you know, just brag in front of his friends, you know, I would say that. And then I would just stay around really late, which was very nice that I could do that. My mom would go to bed, my sister would go to bed. I would just stay around and listen to them jam. He would have a jam session at home, you know, pretty often. I was just amazed with just them having fun and playing those songs on and on. It would last, you know, forever. So I, you know, by the time I was 12, guitar was always in the house, in the living room, and really by the time I was 12, he never pushed me into that direction. Actually, he kind of got me some sort of a keyboard, small keyboard, and I really wanted to play guitar. That was it. I was 12 and I really wanted it, and I think my dad also hesitated a little bit. Really, there was not a lot of women playing guitar, especially in Serbia, so he thought it's just going to pass.
Right. So then you had the opportunity to go to prestigious music school and really learn the technical aspects in Holland, correct?
That was later. Yeah, I started playing when I was about 13, some chords, and then by the time I was 18, I really got some solos together. I would listen to Albert King and play some easy solos with him alongside with the records, and then I would get Elmore James for slide. And by the time I was maybe 17, 18, I spent a lot of hours listening to Sonny Landreth and Ronnie Earl and all the guys that were going outside of blues a little bit. Finally, that's why I wanted to study jazz, so I could, you know, make my own licks instead of copying their licks. So I went to Holland to study jazz in Rotterdam and Utrecht Academy, and I studied that and world music for about 3 years. At the same time, I wanted to work and I wanted to have my own band. And that was actually the first time. I mean, I had a band in Serbia for about 3 years that was called Hush, but just that move to Holland freed me in a way, you know, just as much as America did when I moved to America from Holland. You see, there's a whole other level for you as an artist, especially if you are one of the artists, I think, like I am, that really want to explore special sound and being different. You know, a lot of Europeans are just strictly into copying American blues, which is a shame, you know, also because of the language barrier, I guess, somewhere, and just because they probably got into it on a much later age. I think my biggest, you know, I'm very thankful to my father for getting me into blues on the right time, which is very early, so I can feel the music and feel the genre. Otherwise, I could never be as free to explore and find my own sound in it. You know, it's just very difficult when you get into such a musical form like blues, which is African American music for at the end, and American. You know, at the age like 24 or something, you already have a musical taste made before that. You know, the whole language thing and everything and songwriting. So I think it's somewhere hard for Europeans to really try to make something you know, unique. I think you shouldn't escape what you are. That's what I'm trying to do. I love American blues. I'm trying what you just said a little while ago on the latest records. I'm trying to go deeper with every record, not quantity wise, because I'm not one of those who think that you have to make a record full of strictly blues songs to prove you can play blues. However, I think you should pick 3 or 4 songs that do it really deep, show what you can do, and then make modern music, because that's what we are. I am a modern woman, and I love blues to have edges of the blues, and explore stuff and explore what's really mine. Signature style. I'm still European. I don't want to escape from that. I'm different, and different is good.
Sure, you're different, and you go from very different progressive, one of the most progressive cities in the world, in Amsterdam, to Memphis in the Deep South, but with all that history, and you're different in, say, for example, only guitar virtuosos get to be on the Hendrix Experience Hendrix tour. You're the only woman on that, and you get to share your chops with some of the very best.
Of them, yes. Well, it's very inspirational, I have to say. I mean, it was my dream tour. I felt like I belonged there for many years. I tried to get on it. I've been a Hendrix fan, ever since a really early age. And actually, my first song that was recorded for the American market was Belly Button Window of Hendrix, which I think is a fabulous song and not very known. And then in the course of the years, I played House Burning Down and Can You See Me in different occasions. So it was just, I couldn't wait to get on it, and it was great that they invited me, knowing that they don't have a whole lot of ladies on, and it's probably the most demanding thing I've done in my career so far, because it's just the summit of the greatest guitar players out there, trying to pay a tribute to Jimmy and his legacy and his music, and really with a lot of passion. You would think they're just 20 guitar players that range from Eric Johnson and his fusion stuff to Zakk Wylde and the heavy metal thing, and then Buddy Guy with his blues stuff, Johnny Lang, the younger guys, the older guys, and you think there will be maybe a lot of egos, or maybe they will try to push their own music. No, everyone was really very passionate about doing the best possible take on Hendrix, and it was incredible. First to try to at least match the rest on that tour playing wise. I mean, I did a lot of exercise, rehearsing before that, but it's hard. They come out there and they shred from the minute on, and Buddy was on fire from the first note. And I know Buddy. I've seen a lot of shows. I played with him. Sometimes he gives himself freedom to get warmed up. Not on the Hendrix tour. He was right on from the first second. So it was incredible, and we have a whole new tour being booked for September and October. So
great. And finally, the very first time I interviewed you for Blues Review, you talked about playing live, and that is the inspiration for Tahoe Onstage. We want to support live music. We think it's great, and you gave me an answer about when you are really in the moment up there playing live, it's a very special feeling. Can you talk about that?
I dedicated the whole record to it. It's the Unconditional record talks everything about that. Every record that I make, I kind of have an idea about the message or some sort of a theme, just not just songs put together from all kinds of sides. Every record has a sort of a thematic, and I at some point came to that idea that I really should explain that feeling that I have, and actually that's the reason I do what I do, really, and that keeps me going. From the very first times in my career, from 10 years ago. Basically, it's just Ana time, It's a very busy, life is busy. You got the band, I got a family, you got very little time for yourself. This is my time, This is where I forget everything else, and it's just my art and my guitar and the band. And the way they play also influences a lot my solos. That's why I always try to have great musicians in my band, because I'm very, very, my solos really kind of depend on the band as well. I'm not one of the players that just plugs in and plays the same no matter who. That's why I'm not a big fan of jam sessions. You won't see me much in the jam session. I need to have a solid, real inspirational background to solo over that, And then when that happens on a good night, this is really why I'm doing what I'm doing, you know, and I try to explain that feeling. It's almost like you're lifted off the ground, and you really, sometimes I do have blackouts. Do you believe that? And it happens often. I don't know what is that. I'm in the middle of the solo. Is it the lack of oxygen or something? You know, I'm just, I forget to breathe maybe. I don't know what it is, but I do have this sort of blackouts where I'm thinking, okay, hold on, it's gonna pass, and it does passes every time, luckily. You know, in about a second or something, 2 seconds. But it's a very, it's a huge tension, and it's a beautiful feeling. You know, it's almost like you're lifted off the ground. And sometimes, which is just been in Canada, I don't know. You look at the setting, and there's a sunset, and you know the wind is blowing, and I'm thinking, man, you know, I'm doing it right now, and it's the most beautiful thing. You know, and who knows what's going to happen next? But what a wonderful way to, you know, spend time.
Absolutely, and what a powerful live performer you are, and singer, guitarist, songwriter, arranger, and willing to do interviews in at least 3 languages. So.
Yeah, I have to say English is the best so far, trust me. You don't want to hear me doing interviews about music in Serbian or Dutch. Doesn't work.
Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
It's great to see you. Thank you,
Thanks.
guys.
Okay.
That's good.
Yeah.